Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always, told how to voice the radio. So today, we need to take a look at all of the secret rare cards from Fusion Arts. And the set is out in Japan today, tomorrow, I don't know, really soon. Depends if it goes up on Thursday or Friday. It's actually going to be Friday Japan time regardless, but it depends on whether it's, for us or not. Either way, the set's out in Japan. And because it's a single set, not a double set, we're in a situation where we've actually got significantly fewer secret rares than we would generally have. And that's going to make it slightly easier to collect. It's also going to have a knock-on effect to our set Fusion Strike, because Fusion Strike is going to have significantly fewer secret rares than we're used to seeing, but that is a video right now for another day. So, with all of that borne in mind, let's start off with the Pokémon V. Some of them are getting full arts, a couple of them are getting alternate arts as well. So why don't we start off having a little bit of a look at Serena V. I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it's not exactly the Pokemon I had largest on my radar, but we are getting a lovely full art version here, which is kind of cool. Only the one attack here for 2 energy that lets you discard as many bench Pokemon you like, and you deal 20 damage base, plus 40 more for each Pokemon you discarded with the attack. Which is honestly kind of cool. I'm alright with this. It's a nice little attack. Now, we've also got a full art for Chandelier, and I am personally extremely upset. I desperately wanted Chandelier to have an alternate art. It doesn't. And I'm legitimately sad about this. Chandelier V, incidentally, is fine. Confusion for 1 energy. Or it's got Poltergeist, which is look at their hand, 40 damage for each trainer card you find. I'm really building up to the VMAX, which I think is where Chandelier really shines. But I'll be honest with you, the lack of an alternate art here does make me genuinely a little bit sad. Speaking of Vs that do not have alternate arts, and honestly, most of them here don't, we've got a full art of Creminable V. Now, Creminable V is potentially a broken card. It's a ridiculous card. It's one that I spoke very highly of when I did my video about it when it was revealed. Because, 1 energy, discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck, fine. But 3 energy, 90 damage, plus 60 for each damage counter on your opponent's active. In a deck like Inteleon, and Inteleon is everywhere, dropping a few damage counters, and it really is not many damage counters, is going to lead to some huge KOs super quickly. So this is one I really think we need to keep an eye on. No alternate art though, just a full art. We then have ourselves a full art of the new Bolton V, and to be blunt, the new Bolton V is lovely, but it's just worse than the Bolton V we got in Rebel Clash. We know there's a VMAX and that's lovely, but there's no alternate art, and it is just a weaker version of the Bolton we've already had, so certainly pre-rotation, I do not recommend this, not even a little bit. The good news is that Mew does get an alternate art, and obviously Mew gets an alternate art. Mew is on the pack art for both Fusion Arts and Fusion Strike, the Japanese and English sets, so Mew was always going to have a lovely alternate art. And it is a rather lovely alternate art indeed. It's done by Saito, and once again, I really appreciate that they do this. If you take a look, all of the other Pokemon featured on this card are fusion Pokemon in the same way as we've seen with single and rapid strike alternate arts in the past. It's a really cool little touch, and I love that they do this. And obviously there is a full art as well. That's been on the screen the whole time, but come on. Alternate art Mew. Although the full art really is very, very lovely here. As for Mew as a card, again, we really are just building up to the VMAX here. We're not getting terribly excited about the V, unfortunately. But for 2 energy, you can do 70 damage and shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your deck, which is going to be copied by the VMAX. Honestly, fairly often. We'll get to that in a moment. We've then got a full art of Hoopa V. No alternate art here, unfortunately. Just a full art. And Hoopa is both Psychic and Darkness type, which is, the hook of Hoopa. it's fine. Now, Genesect is one of just the most amazing cards we've seen in years. Genesect is a redonkulous card, only a full art here. Only joking, there's an alternate art as well, and I love the alternate art of Genesect here. It is absolutely brilliant. Why is Genesect breakdancing? I don't really know, is the honest answer, and I don't really care. Once again, you'll notice the other Pokemon in the artwork is Smeargle, who is a fusion Pokemon, so that's rather cool. And honestly, right, Genesect's got a decent attack that does 210, but once during your turn, it lets you draw until you have as many cards in hand as you have Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. So basically, if you've got a full bench, and you should, that's drawing until you've got 6 cards in hand every turn, except it's not limited to once during your turn, so you can potentially do this 4 times every turn. It's one of the most ridiculous draw engines we've ever seen, and no, I'm not exaggerating. And the one that I didn't really expect, but I'm delighted about, Greant V is getting an alternate art. And I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. I know I'm not the only one that said this. But oh my word, that is a beautiful, beautiful card. That Greant V is absolutely stunning. It's being carried along on a tree, carried by Squavit, with a bunch of berries. I love this card. And because there are so few alternate arts, and there are going to be very few in Fusion Strike, I'm thinking at the moment there might be as few as 8, which is ridiculously low. That means that these are going to be more out there and more available, and the price is going to be lower, and I can get me some Greant, which is lovely, because goodness me, that's amazing. Highlight of the card really is free energy, 120, draw 3 cards. I don't think that's terrible. Now, as we move over into the VMAXs, we've got lots of rainbow rares and only 1 alternate art. So my boy Chandelier gets a rainbow rare that I actually showed you the other day. They showed this off because I showed you a couple of days ago, they apologized for Chandelier with the artwork. The lines going around Chandelier should only go between the eyes. They shouldn't carry on round the body. So the art's been drawn a bit wrong and they've apologized. I wouldn't have noticed, and I don't think you would have either, if I'm honest. But yeah, we only get a rainbow rare, not an alternate art, and that makes me sad. Now, when it's in the active spot, your opponent is tool locked. They don't get any Pokemon tools. And it's got Poltergeist doing 70 for each trainer card in their hand. I'm going to make a Chandelier deck because I love Chandelier, and this is a very powerful Poltergeist. There is also a rainbow rare of Bolton VMAX. No alternate art, unfortunately, just a rainbow rare. And this one is pretty much just a big version of the Rebel Clash Bolton V. 2 energy, 30 damage, plus 30 more for each lightning energy attached to all of your Pokemon. Or just free energy 230. I like Bolton VMAX, but I don't think it's terribly special, and I think it may get lost in the shuffle. Now, there's also a VMAX of Greant, and that brings a rainbow rare with it. I'm in love with Greant VMAX. And since I made my video last week about Greant VMAX, it has become pretty obvious that not all of you agree with me, and that is absolutely fine. No offense taken. But it's either free energy, 160 draw 3 cards, or it's 2 energy, 30 damage, and if you knock out a basic, you take 2 more prize cards. I talked about this in a video last week where I go into more detail, so check that one out. But I love Greant VMAX. I am definitely going to be testing this. I love it. It's really sad, though, and it's not the first time it's happened. I was chatting with a lovely Primal Lugia yesterday. We've seen it with Blaziken and Galarian Slowking at least. But there's an alternate art V, and there isn't an alternate art VMAX, just a rainbow. That makes me sad. I wanted an alternate art Greant VMAX. Boo! And by process of elimination, that means the only VMAX that gets an alternate art here is Mew. Mew gets itself an alternate art, which is extremely lovely, and it's one that a lot of people are going to love. It's a bit weird, and it's kind of picking up buses and cars and all of that, and floating above a city. I kind of like this one, I'm going to be honest with you. Agawa's done a really nice job on this. Now, the reason to play Mew VMAX is that for 2 energy, you can copy the attacks of any of your Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. So it's going to be a box deck in the same way that Mew is always a box deck. And I don't love Mew VMAX at the moment, but it always makes a good box deck. So I am not in a position to sit here and argue. Now that's the Pokemon, but we need to have a little bit of a look at the supporters as well. Just a reminder that all the supporters have a full art and a rainbow rare. So if we take a look at Sydney here to start off, you can see that Sydney's rainbow rare is very much just Sydney's full art, but to use the word that I enjoy using, rainbow-fied. So there we go. Now Sydney's going to be interesting to you if you like disruption decks. Let's look at your opponent's hand and discard up to 2 in any combination of Tool, Special Energy and Stadium cards. So that's kind of cool. But the one people are really going to like is Elisa's Radiance. Now, I'm not usually a fan of full art supporters. I'm going to make an exception for this one. The artwork on this card is absolutely phenomenal. I have no interest in the Rainbow Rare because I love the cityscape behind her and that really makes the image for me. So I don't want the rainbow. But I love the artwork here on Elisa's Radiance, the full art. This is going to be the first time in a while I've actually tracked down the full art because I really do think it's amazing. I am in love with this card. And it's actually a phenomenal card. Lets you search for 2 Fusion Strike Energy and attach them to different Fusion Strike Pokemon. So it's going to see a bunch of play as well. Dancer gets a full art on a rainbow rare, but it's not a good card. You draw 2 cards, but if you go second on your first turn, you draw 3 more. The fact of the matter is, you can't guarantee you're going to draw it turn 1, and even if you could, there are still going to be plenty of turn 1s where you'd rather just have something like Professor's Research. So sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to work. What I will say is, I think the regular art of Dancer is way better than the full art. Come at me, bro. Come at me. And the other full art I actually really like here. I think it's an adorable little card. It's Chilean Siren and Cress. Love that we finally get the trio of those on a card. That makes me extremely happy. And you search your deck for up to 3 Fusion Strike Pokemon and put them into your hand. It's fine, but it's just beautiful. Although, once again, no, I don't know, because I love the regular art, but I also love the full art here. The fact that you've got the 3 brothers acting very much like brothers does amuse me greatly, so I don't know, maybe I'm more in love with that card than I'm willing to admit. Except I just did admit it, so I don't know. And that means the only ones we've got left to look at are your gold cards. So we are expecting a couple of older cards, a newer card, and some energy, and that's exactly what we've got. The older card is Flaffy. We're getting a gold Flaffy, and it's always a playable card that they give a gold version of, and that's what we've got here. It is a Flaffy from Evolving Skies that's got that Dynamotor ability, lets you accelerate extra energy. But if you're a fan of this channel, if you watch this even a little bit, you will know of my, well, frankly, over-the-top love for Okacheke artwork, and Flaffy's got Okacheke artwork, and the gold version doesn't. So sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it was never meant to be. We've then got a new gold card coming in, a new card which is getting a gold version. It's that Power Tablet card. It's the one that lets Fusion Strike Pokemon do 30 more to the active this turn. Fusion Strike Pokemon really do have the best tricks. And yeah, this is really cool. It's a gold version of it. Life is good, ladies and gentlemen. Life is good. We've then got a gold version of Training Court, of all cards, which is honestly not one that I was expecting to have. We've had more gold stadiums lately, but I'm going to be honest, Training Court is not one that was on my radar to get a gold version. Came out in Rebel Clash, lets you put a basic energy from your discard pile into your hand. It's a cool card that sees a bit of play, especially in energy acceleration decks, which is rather lovely. But yeah, it's just a little bit weird if I'm honest with you. Did not expect to be getting that as a secret rare gold card. And then we've got just grass and fire energy. We're working through getting all of the different energy types. So we get grass and fire energy here. Nominally, it's because we got Serena, which brings in the grass energy, and Chandelier that brings in the fire energy. They do tend to match them to Pokemon in the sets, so we get them coming in here. And if you're trying to collect the gold energy, if you're trying to get hold of them all, well, I've got wonderful news, ladies and gentlemen. They're here! Yay! Etc. And if you're not, well, you know, that's okay too. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of new full arts and rainbow rares. Not many alternate arts at all. There are actually exactly 4 alternate arts in the entire set. In Pokemon V only, we've got Genesect and Greant. Hope your name begins with a G or else you ain't getting an alternate art. And then we've got the Mew V and VMAX coming in as alternate arts. That's it. That's all the alternate arts we get. And that means there are going to be very few in Fusion Strike, which is going to make it a much easier set to collect. But again, I think that's a discussion we can have another day. I don't think we got time to get into it today. For now, I want to know what you think about all of these, and I want to know which is your favourite card and why it's the alternate art Greant, because oh my goodness, I love that card. So yeah, go nuts. Be nice. And then the usual deal. Comment, like, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy. Check out Twitch if you feel like it. Maybe head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can get bonus podcasts, force me to make videos, do fun things along those lines. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.